through my computer the other day, just to see what we can do, and I found I think it's a 5-unit bridge, so it shouldn't take too long to make, but it'll just give you sort of an idea of what is going on, how we're going to do things. Wolf, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so this is a scan. We've got the dies all separate, and this is usually done with the scanning software. We just want to make sure that this is looking forward to the y-axis, and that the scans are sort of in the center of Blender. Then what we need is three elements, and one is a working model. So I'm going to put this working model, just take these and put it into a collection. Now collections are like layers in Blender, and the outliner, I'll just open the outliner so you guys can actually see what's going on. So this has been put into a collection. This one we're going to also, this is the antagonist. And the reason for doing is that now we can toggle this on and off. And this is a great help. Then the third element that we need is we need some teeth. So in the wax up module, we're going to go there and import generic teeth. So if these generic teeth are not suitable, you may have your own tooth library. So we're going to choose a few teeth. So I think it's from the canine all the way over here. And then we're going to delete all the rest of them, select them, and then we go, I think I'm one short, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm one short. I am one short. I'll just go back a few steps. I'll take this one as well. Delete unwanted, put them into position. Now this is exactly like what we usually do with a wax up. We're using the G key and we're using the S key to scale, and then the R key to rotate. And that shouldn't take you too long. Okay, it's quicker than waxing this up in a dental lab. Can you imagine how long this would take, Wolfgang?
Yeah, ages.
All right, so I don't need them 100%, but all right, your tooth library mesh may look different, so we need to unify the mesh. So we're going to, in the crown module, we're going to put this into the teeth collection, and that will then remesh it, and it'll hide the restoration for good reasons, so that now we can mark our margins. All right, so let's go for it. So when we're marking the margins, we also want to mark the contacts. So, and the reason for that is so that we can get a good contact, and this contact will be surveyed together with your other tooth preparations. So here we're going to create upper surface. So if it's an upper model, we click on create upper surface, and then we're going to go and do the rest of them. So I'll do 3 of them, and then the other ones I've saved a file, so we don't have to wait through the entire process. And I'll just do it quickly, so don't criticize where I put the margin, because I've got another file there where I've actually done it nicely. Okay, so here, create surface, and then we need one more, and that's for the pontic, and that's so that we can cut the pontic later down the line. So here, draw, everything else disappears. We're going to make a surface, something like that, and place this into a correct position here, like that. And then we're going to cut it as well, create surface. Okay, so we're going to continue this all the way to the contact over here. But I'm going to just open up a file. So file, open, where I pre-did it like that. So once these margins are marked, and the contacts and the pontic areas, these are all called surfaces, we're going to select all of them. And because they are one bridge, we need to survey all of them. If they're separate teeth, we can survey them separately. So I'm going to click on survey, and here we get to rotate this object. So it's all of these are an object. So I'm looking at specifics. I'm looking at over here. I'm looking at the contact over here, for example. So we want to block these out nicely. Okay. So when we got a good path of insertion, we're going to block them out. We'll just wait.
Are there any questions at this stage? So it kind of follows the laboratory procedure. We're marking all the abutments, and then we survey the whole case. And then from here on, we're going to create the inner fitting surface for the crowns.
So the first thing is we're going to name the contact areas. And then once we've done that, is we're going to take these abutments and we're going to add a small little margin to it. This is a support margin, so it prevents the crowns from chipping when you are milling this. After that, we're going to select them and we're going to create a die spacer. And so, okay, we're going to add a spacer. We've got an automatic way of doing it, but I'll just go through this quickly to explain how this works. So this is our die spacer. It's just like painting our dies. And we can then shift this closer to the margins if we want to. We call this a margin distance. So if I put 0.5, you can see how it's creeping closer to the margin. And then we can make it thicker as well. So if I put it 0.2, that would be 100 microns. So let's keep it on the looser side because they are a little bit undercut. And then we're going to accept that, and then we're going to make a spacer. Now a safety zone. And this safety zone is important because it gives us an indication of how thick the crowns are going to be, where the safety zone is. So by default, it's 0.5 millimeters thick. Okay. Now this is sort of the halfway mark. And from here, we can make copings, we can make anything we want. But we're going to go to the next menu, which is the Occlusal Adjustments. And I'm going to view the antagonist, and we're going to make a cutter. Now this cutter is expanded by 0.1 millimeters. If I go closely, it's just so that we can make sure that the zirconia bridge is actually clear of bite. So if you get consistently high bites, this is where you're going to adjust it. So 0.1 or 0.2, you can see how it expands outwards. Let's put it at 0.2, and then we're going to accept this cutter. And then following that, we will take all of our tooth library, and we're going to go into live trimming mode. Now, what does that do? This trims it in live mode. So when I take the crown and move it up, you can see how the antagonist will chop it off. So we need to look for compromise between clearing the green zone, and we don't want to have all of our tooth anatomy destroyed. So that looks quite good. I'm going to go and look at the canine. Maybe we will rotate this canine a little bit. And this one here, it's a bit big because on the distal we need more space. So I'm going to use the S and the G key to move this one a little bit like that. And then this one as well, it's too big. So S to scale this, and using the G key like that because I need space here on this side. Okay. This one we can shift over a bit like that. and I can scale it. So this is where we're going to make a few fine adjustments to our bridge. Scale, like that, and using the G key to grab. It's looking quite good already. Here we can make that a bit bigger. Now note also that the teeth are much wider than the actual tooth library. So this is where we're going to have to do a bit of work. So we're going to go into the editing of the tooth mesh, and then I'm going to then use the G key, and we're going to then bring this above the surface like this. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm manipulating the mesh structure like that. Something like this here, and this is where the green zone, safety zone, comes in, because we can get to see where it's thick. So this is good enough. I may want to lift the distal proximal a little bit, because I find that a little bit too low. So G, Z, I'm going to move this up a bit like that. This one is finished, object mode. I'll go to the next one over here. Edit the mesh. Wolfgang, are you still there?
Yes.
Oh, you're just watching.
Yep.
Okay, so here, that's looking good. This one, we're going to move over like that a little bit, like this, and that's looking good. So that's also good enough. Here, I'm going to lift it by 0.5 millimeters. Okay, object mode, and let's do the last one. So edit the mesh.
So the objective is to pull the mesh over the green safety zone, just to make sure that the milling won't be too thin.
Yeah, that's correct. So that's about it. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but that's good enough. And then what we're going to do is we're going to trim this. So trim the restorations like that, and then we're going to finish this procedure over here. Next, we're going to go to the Pontic menu. So here what I want to do is I want to choose the Pontics, and then what we're going to do is we're going to edit the Pontics, and here we're going to do something very similar. I'm going to move the Pontics inwards so that it's in those lines. This is where the Pontic is going to get trimmed. And over here, we're going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to move this inwards a bit, this here outwards a bit. That's looking good. Yeah, that's looking fine. And then object mode, and then we're going to cut these Pontics. Okay, so they've been cut. Following that, we may want to give it a bit of tissue compression. So this is where the tissue compression comes in. Every time we press it, it'll give 100 microns more compression. So let's do this one here as well, 100 microns tissue compression. And we can go opposite way as well. So if you think it's gone too much, you can lift it as well. So these Pontics are finished. Now what we want to do is we want to generate the crowns. Select it, go to the Generating Crowns menu, and click on Generate Crowns. And then just wait for it to do its thing. Okay, so that's one crown generated. Let's do the next one. So what that does, it takes away the inside die spacer, it takes away the undercuts on the inside, and sort of prepares the inside surface. It also joins the tooth library up with the inner surface.
And to the margin.
And to the margin. So if you look carefully, we've got like a margin of 0.2.
Can you go into edit mode, Michael?
Yeah.
Just to show the margin.
Yeah. So we still want to smooth that off, the margins, but we can do that when we finish this bridge. Look how wide this tooth is, Wolf.
Yeah, it is. The prep is
Yeah.
quite
It's
elongated.
actually quite tricky because this one is a tiny molar.
Mm.
And so there's quite a bit of deviation with sizes in this specific case. So finally, what we want to do is we want to join them all up. So I'm going to select them all. We're going to go to the bridging menu here. And there what we're going to do is we're going to unify all of these. So at the moment, there are 5 objects. We want to create one object. So we'll just wait. And then what we want to do is we'd like to make it a little bit thicker. And as you're going, you can save, because you don't want to get into a situation where something happens and then you lose your work or something. So just save every now and then. So what we want to do is we're going to put this into a bridge collection, which will then create like a pink safety zone. The safety zone is quite important because if you want to put an attachment on your crown, or you want to create a thicker contact, this is where the safety zone is very important, the pink one. So I'm going to put weld. I'm going to use the S key to scale. Now, this is very similar to having wax in a dental laboratory. And those of you who are familiar with that, it looks and it actually feels like, you can see how it drops. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. So here, what we can do is we can duplicate these, and then we can place this and design our contacts any way we like. Okay, so here, Shift D. All I'm doing is I'm pressing Shift D, using the S key to scale, and we can then add wherever we want to add. Okay, so once we're done, we're going to unify this to our bridge. So we're going to join the weld. And then once it's joined, we're going to we're going to select and smooth this weld. So it follows a completely logical procedure path. Yeah, let's just smooth it nicely like that. We're going to go on the inside here a little bit like this.
So those gray areas are all protected zones at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. And the pink has actually protected the inside so that these balls of wax, or whatever you want to call them, they don't hinder our actual surface inside of the crowns. Okay, so we're going to exit that. So there's one step left, and that's the contacts, because we want this to slot in nicely. So we're going to go into contacts and expose our contacts. We're going to select these contacts. We're going to create an auto contact cutter, select the bridge, and then shape our contacts. So now that we've done this, we're going to hide our model, our upper segment, and then we're going to see, okay, do we want it wider, broader? We can make a broader contact if we want to. Here on this side, we don't even have a contact. So we're going to, what that does, it inflates the crown, and we can, it's like a glass window. So we're looking through this, and we're inflating it, we're pulling the mesh. Once that's done, we're going to cut the mesh. So this is going to be used as our cutter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to smooth that down. Just give it a quick smooth like this, like that. Other side, smooth it down a bit like that. And then exit. I'm going to delete the cutter, and I'm going to just give it one final smooth. Smooth with protection. Okay, so it says smooth with protection, which means that the inside surfaces are safe. Okay. Smooth it down nicely. It's a bit like a mini flame Bunsen burner in a lab, where we just smooth the wax off nicely like that. And that's about it. So the bridge is done here. Where the bite surface is, we can smooth that a bit like that. Here maybe. That's all good, like this. And that's sort of finished. It's perfect. Okay, exit. We're going to expose our model, and we can expose our antagonist, or like this. And that's our bridge. And this is what our mesh structure looks like. And I would say, Wolfgang, that the mesh structure it's actually very clean compared to some of the other dental programs even on the market.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
The integrity of the mesh is super important, especially when you want to mill these bridges.
Finally, we're going to export. So we're going to put this into a separate collection. And what this does, it will then duplicate the bridge, put it into the center of Blender. And what we want to have is that the inner surface is pointing upwards, which it is. Export, name it whatever you want, bridge. Make sure you select the selection only button and export STL. And that's about it. And then you send it to your milling machine and have it milled out. Perfect.
Excellent.
All right, so I think that's, if there's any questions, please put your hand up or introduce yourself. Love to hear from you.
Whereabouts are you guys from? Would be nice to know.
Well, Santiago, we recognize that name. And Baptiste, yay, hi.
Baptist says he doesn't have a microphone tonight, so
Amira.
today at least, nighttime for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a quick session. How long did that take? 20 minutes or something?
Nearly 25 minutes. So
So
it
without talking,
doesn't take long
yeah.
to make a bridge. And it follows a kind of logic sequence.
I think within 10 minutes, you would be able to make this bridge. Maybe even faster, I think.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing.
Yeah. So we've got one signal coming up, and I'll say a signal back.
Gordana from Serbia. Excellent.
In the Channel Islands. Nice. Fantastic. We got Serbia, Belgrade. Wonderful. It's a long way away from Australia. So
we're wanting to do a course in Australia. So if you want to join us on the sunny Gold Coast, please do.
we'll advertise the course soon. So it's an ideal spot to come to. And of course, Egypt, Samira. Great. Michael, you do make it look very easy. I think you've got a bit of practice.
Well, I did write the software, so I think I know it inside out. But it's not that